So, I have built my fair share of PCs, but I've never built a water-cooled PC. That's Naynay's speciality.
Hello.
What do you think of my new look?
Okay, so the thing is, you look great with long hair. It's just the blonde.
It's the blonde. I feel like it looks very...
It looks like a surfer boy.
It does. It looks less Steve from Gamers Nexus and more
No,
surfer.
it really does look like his kind of hair, except he doesn't have bangs. But if it was black, I feel like it'd be more majestic. Yeah, so I have built my fair share of water-cooled PCs. Josh was originally going to build one when he lived in the UK, but we got married and then he moved here. So all this stuff is still over there, so he never got a chance to. So today, we're gonna pop your cherry.
We're gonna build a water-cooled PC. I've seen you build them, because obviously we've filmed a bunch of like water-cooled PC build time-lapses, but yeah. I've never actually done any of the tube bending myself, and that's something that you're really good at.
I learned from the greatest, my father. If you're watching this, Dad, hi.
He's watching.
He is watching.
Go for it.
Berries and cream, berries and cream. I'm a little boy who likes berries and cream.
Easy peasy.
This video is brought to you by bobkeys.com. You guys know the drill. You've just finished building your brand new PC, you boot it up, and bam, that hideous Activate Windows watermark appears. And the worst part is you forgot to budget $200 for an activation key from Microsoft because you spent it all on RGB. But that's okay, because you don't need to spend $200. You can pick one up from today's video sponsor, bobkeys.com, for a tenth of the price. The best part is you can use my code TT25 for 25% off, which takes this already cheap Windows 10 Pro key from around $22 to $16. If you're in the UK, that's £13. You place your order, your activation code gets added to your orders page, you whack it into the Windows activation screen, and boom, you're fully activated. No more watermarks being burned into your retinas. TT25 for 25% off, link in description. Alright, so now that I've got my real hair back, we can begin. What are we starting with?
The case. But first, we need our Lazy Susan.
We do.
Now this Lazy Susan is pretty strong, I would say. Do you think this can hold you?
Let's try it.
Well, now you know this can hold a human.
Quality engineering.
Quality. So this is a case from Antec, and it's called the Cannon. We've had this case for a couple of months now. We just haven't had time to build it, but now we do.
So this is an open air case, and it's made out of CNC'd aluminium. Or aluminum.
Yeah, it's a very sturdy case.
Yeah, and it basically comes with all these detachable parts, so all of the external parts you can just take off like that, which is quite nice.
I believe this case is actually around $400 range, so this is like an enthusiast case. It's not really for beginners, but if you're into water cooling, this is a perfect case to get.
We'll actually have everything linked in the description, so if you want to find any more like specific details about anything in the video, be in the description.
So that's it with the case. We'll go ahead and we'll grab all the PC parts that we are going to be using.
Okay, so power supply, we're using MSI A1000G. We are using this GPU. Now this is an RTX 3090. It's actually a Dell OEM model, but we're gonna be waterblocking it. So we've got an EK waterblock here, which is designed for this GPU. You can kind of see how that will fit on there. There's also a back plate in there as well. CPU, we're using the i9 3900K. Intel actually sent out to me about a month ago, so really excited to use this. We're using the Corsair Dominator Platinum RGB, my favorite RAM.
And then all of the fittings and all the liquid for this PC build are going to be in neon green. So we've got neon liquid, we've got some neon wallpaper that we're going to use to put on the case. All the fittings are green, as well as these fittings here. And then we even got some matching green cables for the GPU. Oh, I totally forgot. The radiators are green too. How cool is that?
How cool is that? Yeah, it's like, I think it's called Toxic Candy, the color. So it's kind of like this candy colored green.
And then the fans that we are using are from Lian Li. These are the Infinity fans. I have wanted these for the longest time. They are so cool.
Yeah, they just came in last week.
Yeah, so these are the SL Infinity 120. We've got, I think, 9 of these. So
yeah, we've got 9 of them in total. And then I think all that's left is the motherboard and the distro plate. Yep. So this distro plate is an EK distro plate. We ordered this a little while ago, didn't we?
So this is what it looks like from the top. We've already put some of the fittings on there just to check and make sure everything fit. And then for the motherboard.
So we have the MSI MAG Z690 Torpedo EKX. That's these names are ridiculous. There's a bit of a better look at it for you guys. Oh, we almost forgot the storage. This is the Samsung 970 EVO Plus, 2 TB, which should be fine because this PC is mostly going to be like a video editing PC.
All right, I think that is pretty much everything. We should get started with the PC build.
Yeah, but first we need to tidy up. Is that going to work?
I don't know. The infinity snap. All right, so we're back with the motherboard. We've got our RAM, we've got our CPU, we've got our NVMe M.2, and we've got our screwdriver, so we're ready to go.
So first off, we're going to install the CPU. So unlatch our socket, find the little arrow, which is here, put it straight in. Dude, I'm really excited to do the tubing on this. I've always wanted to do one. In fact, I ordered, like you said earlier, I ordered the parts to do my old John's Bow Mod 3 case. But then,
such a nice case.
It was. I had the parts for it, but then moved to the US. All my parts are still in the UK. So yeah, this is actually going to be my first build. I was thinking about getting like one of those Corsair kits, you know, the ready-to-go ones with the soft tubing. But Naynay was like, it's easy. Why don't you just do a proper one?
My first Watercool build that I ever did was hardline tubing. And I remember telling my father, I was like, hey dad, I'm gonna do my first Watercool build. And he's like, you gotta use soft tubing. I said, no, I'm not using soft tubing. And the first time I did it, I was able to do it. So it's not, I don't think it's that difficult.
Our memory is in. Storage.
Storage time.
Let's do it. We need our screwdriver. Oh, and this is the motherboard that has those cool little...
I was gonna say that. It has the little latches for the NVMe so that you don't have to use the screws.
By the way, if you guys want to find links to this screwdriver, we'll have it in the description. Pop that into place. You basically just pop it in there, scooch that across. It's done. Easy. So, have we got any ideas of what we're actually doing with the tubing?
Considering it's going to be your first Watercool build,
how do you normally do it? Like, what is your, I guess, logic behind making a loop?
I don't have a logic. I just look at it and I
just wing it.
I just wing it. I told you, I always like to do like one show piece of tubing in my PC build. If you've seen the build, you would know. But considering it's your first build, I would say just go with right angle bends because it's just going to be easier for you.
And it's a little bit of a smaller case, isn't it? Than the previous ones you've done. You had like loads of room to do stuff.
We need to install the block.
Oh yeah, we do. Let me grab it. Let's go ahead and put that on. So this thing just slips over here like that. And then we've got our actual back plate, which we'll put on here. And then it's thermal paste time.
Last week, I saw Robitech, he posted a photo. He was doing a build and he put thermal paste on the CPU and it looked like a little poop. It was like perfect.
Oh, I saw the one. Yeah. That's skill right there. Now I'm going to be going for a little dot in the middle and then a little dot in each corner because the 3900K gets a little bit hot.
Someone will say
around
in the comments that that's not correct. We'll find your comment.
It doesn't really make any difference. As long as you don't use too little. Let's line this up. That is lined up. What kind of screws are these? Is that an Allen wrench? This is why it's super handy to have one of these little screwdrivers.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, look
perfect,
at that.
The first one.
First try.
You like me to screw?
This time.
Okay.
That's what he said.
If you guys can hear background noise, I apologize. We had to open the windows. It was getting quite hot in here.
Yeah, it's getting so warm.
Okay, that should be good. What is that? There's a freaking possum out the window.
Is it a possum?
That's a freaking possum. Time to install into the case.
Yeah, let's do it.
So we probably want to lay the case down.
Just like that. We've already got our standoffs pre-installed. Oh wait, I just remembered this is actually a inverted layout, so
oh yeah, that's
it goes this way.
This is the second case that we've done that has an inverted
What was
motherboard.
the other one? It was the
Lian Lee case.
Yeah.
We haven't showed the people on our YouTube channel my dad's case.
Oh yeah, we'll put a picture up right now.
So we sent the Lian Lee case to my dad and then he did his own build in it, so we'll pop some pictures up. Turned out really cool. I can't believe we saw a possum out our window.
We don't have possums in the UK. In fact, the only time I've ever come across a possum is in Ice Age. They were possums,
oh, the
right?
twins.
Yeah.
The twin brothers. Oh, speaking of brothers, we should bring in...
introduce our new cats. You want to go grab them while I do this?
I will go grab them. I have returned with our new family members.
Our new children.
These are our new babies. So this is Benji, and then this is Miko. So we originally had adopted Miko, and I felt bad for separating them because they're brothers. So we went back and we adopted Benji.
Benji as well.
And they're just the cutest little things.
They are.
So these are Scottish straight-eared cats, purebred actually.
Benji's a little bit more wriggly.
I don't know, they both
Miko.
wriggly. Okay, they're leaving. So next we need to install the radiators and the fan. So one of the radiators is going on the front and one of the radiators is going on the side. So I will go grab those.
Oh, and the fans as well, because we need to put them on first. So these are your favorite fans?
Oh, yes. Every time I see someone have these on social media, they look so cool.
Wow, it's really shiny. Look at that mirror. You can see yourself in it. So many cats. Oh, and here's a look at Milo. He's getting massive now. So fans are ready. We just need to get our radiators out now. In fact, we can do one each.
Ooh, yeah. The paint job is pretty decent. I would say there's some patches that you can see still. One of my favorite parts about Leon Lee's fans is that they snap together. So it eliminates all of the different cables that you need for when you're building your PC. Makes cable management much easier. Are yours done?
I'm on the last one. I'll show you guys what they look like.
Looks pretty cool.
It does look really
The
cool,
green
actually.
against the black.
So these 3 remaining fans, these are going inside the case. Tubes are going to be going at the front, right?
Up at the top. So we do actually need to take this front panel off real quick.
Yeah. Oh, do you know what we should do?
What?
It'd be cool if we spray painted the RAM.
Oh yeah. All right, next one.
Just realized that in order to install this thing on here, we have to take this side off because there's no way to access like these screw holes. Well, you can kind of access the top ones through the back here, but other than that, there is no way to reach them. So yeah, we're gonna just have to pop this side off real quick.
Hey.
Cool. And then I think the final step is just to unscrew these and then it will come off. So we've essentially disassembled the entire case at this point.
There you go, and it should just pop right off. Sweet.
Yep. So our radiator's going at the top, right?
It's going at the top. And then I will grab the reservoir because we also need to install that. Yeah, so then you'll just put it there.
I think we'll have to, one of us will have to hold this.
Yeah.
They actually use hex bolts. They're not regular screws, which is interesting. What do we think?
Yeah, it actually looks quite nice.
Okay,
so now we can put back the case.
All right, we sure we don't need to put anything else on it? This would be your SSD mounting plate if you were using like 2.5-inch drives, but we are not, so we don't need this. So we'll grab this. So that's the middle part reassembled. We just got to grab the bottom now. And we might as well, while we're here, take this thing off because this is to mount the power supply. So we pop this off now, then we can get a head start on that.
Okay.
Line that up and push it in.
That's actually pretty handy.
Grab the other piece of the case. And then finally, we've just got to put this one back on. So these are going to be slotting in here like this.
And you're gonna do it backwards, right? Because it's gonna suck air from the front
Yep.
and push out, yeah.
Yeah, because we've got air coming through this front radiator, and that's going through here. And then for this one, we've got air blowing through here as well. And then there's gonna be some hot air, I guess, like inside here. So this is gonna help to pull that hot air out. So I think we just need a couple fan screws and we should be good.
Fan screws, I'm on it.
On it like a car bonnet. What's a car bonnet?
I don't know what that is, but I've heard of it.
It's a hood to you.
Like the hood of a car?
The hood of a car, yeah. Oh, what about trunk? Like in the US, they say open the trunk. What would you say in the UK?
Open the boot.
Yes, she's got it. She does know me well.
All right, this is everything in the case. We'll give you a quick little spin. We've got the motherboard, the radiators, we got all the fans, we've got our distro plate, we got our PSU. All that's left to do is put in the water block with the GPU, which is going to go right here. Now we're gonna do all that tomorrow. So tomorrow we're going to do the bending, we're gonna install the fluid, and then we'll also install the GPU.
Yeah, I think we'll pick up on this tomorrow.
The next day.
Welcome back, guys, to day number 2 of the custom Watercool build for my husband. How's it going so far?
It's going pretty good. As you can see, we have made a few upgrades since yesterday. We did end up painting the RAM, and it looked really good, but then we realized that it didn't match the color of the radiators. So we ended up spraying the radiators as well. In fact, Naynay did all of it.
I did. I was up until like 3 o'clock in the morning spraying these rads for you. And if that is not love, then I don't know what it is.
Yes, she did a very good job. We also used a gloss on the top as well.
Yeah,
it
was
looked a bit weird.
way too flat with the original green that I spray painted on top. So we wanted to add a little gloss to it. So I went to Lowe's and got some gloss and put it on top.
Yeah, another reason why we painted the radiators is because we weren't 100% happy with the candy finish on the other ones.
The candy paint looked really bad.
Yeah, you could see like little dark areas on it. I'll put up some B-roll now, which is kind of weird because we've had Primo Chill stuff before. In fact, I think we have
we do, yes.
previous radiator over here, which was like a gloss finish, and the gloss finish looks fantastic.
Really
but,
nice.
Yeah, there's just something about the candy paint that looked off. Now, as far as the RAM goes, we actually decided to use white RAM. So we still have the original black kit, but the reason we used the white RAM is because it has a black Dominator Platinum logo on it. So we thought that if we were going to spray paint over it, we'd have more chance of seeing the logo still if it was black. So that's what we did. You can also see on this footage that I'm going to overlay here as well of assembling the RAM. We ended up swapping the gold over because the white ones have gold, and obviously gold's not going to really match with this build. So we used a heat gun just to peel those grills off and then put them all back together.
I think that is pretty much it for everything that we customized overnight. What do we have left to get this PC all ready and done?
We need to install the GPU, we need to still do our tubing and everything, we need to install the bracket for the GPU, but before we can do that, we need to actually put the water block on the GPU because we haven't done that yet.
This is going to be fun.
That is going to be fun. So I think we'll get rid of this, we'll grab all of our tools and get started.
So there's two ways you can water cool your GPU, and the first way is picking up a GPU that is already pre-water cooled for you. This is one that we had from Oris. This was in the thermal take build that I did. Or the other option is using a kit that we got here from EK. You have to make sure that you find the right plate that will go on it, and that is what we have here. So step one is to take the original cooler off of this GPU. While you do this, I'm gonna go grab some water. I will be right back. Oh my God, it almost went outside of the cup.
At least it's an orange mouse pad. Oh, speaking of the mouse pads, if you guys wanna find out where we get any of these, we'll have them linked down below.
Yeah, we actually just recently got these from, what was it, ID Gaming?
ID Gaming, yeah, they make some really cool mouse pads.
Aha. So now we just need to take off these thermal pads.
Probably need to give these a little clean. That's why we've got the alcohol over there. So as you can see, we've cleaned up these a little bit. They're looking pretty good. So now we can go ahead and take out the rest of these screws, which will let us release the PCB from the cooler itself.
That plate is off. Look at that.
Funnily enough, this has actually got a lot less thermal paste on
I was just thinking
than
that.
the one I saw in Gamers Nexus video, where it was
Yeah.
just like caked in thermal paste.
That should be pretty good.
Yeah, we need to disconnect these.
God, I'm afraid you're gonna like freaking elbow me in the face.
And it is separated. I always find it very funny how most of the GPU is just the fans and like the fin stack.
Isn't it crazy it's that small?
Well, it's even smaller than that because we need to still take this thing off.
Yeah. Aha, there we
go.
go.
Cool.
So we're not gonna need this anymore.
Nope.
We need to take off all of these so that we can put on our new ones.
You don't really have to get these perfect, but it's usually best just to clean them up a little bit. So we have two components here. So we have a back plate that goes on so it doesn't look ugly. Also helps to dissipate some heat. And then the water block itself, which is this thing right here.
So we went ahead and pulled up the instructor manual just so that we could show you guys at home that are watching an easy diagram of where your pads are supposed to go. So we have pads going here, there on the side, and there. We even had some coming on these little tiny ones. And we're using the 1mm size pads as well.
So EK actually give you a bunch of different thicknesses. I think the backplate uses different thicknesses, but yeah, this is all just 1mm. So we'll put those on now. Yeah, we did think about doing a pre-waterblock GPU for this, but I kind of wanted it to be all EK because I don't think we've ever done like a full EK build, have we?
There we go. So it's time to do the thermal paste. We're going to be doing a line on the chip, and you want to tell them why?
There's a couple of ways obviously you can do this. When you're doing like CPUs, a dot is usually fine because most of the heat is concentrated in the middle of the die. But for GPUs, it's usually best if you cover the entire thing. I mean, you can do a dot, but usually a line covers a little bit more to the edges. So I think we're gonna go with a line today. Time to install the block. Line up the standoffs. Flip it over so we can put the screws in. We'll put these screws in here, get them tightened up. So the last step for this is to install the back plate. Now the process is actually slightly different depending on whether you're using the 3080 or the 3090 because you end up using slightly different thickness pads. You can see we've got them all lined up here. So we're gonna follow this diagram, get those put onto the back plate and then install it.
I feel like we're playing that game.
Operation.
Who's gonna get it first?
Who's gonna win?
No! No! So, we can go ahead and just line that up.
So, apart from needing a bit of a polish because it's got fingerprints all over it now, What do you think?
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
And I always like to check as well, just to make sure that these thermal pads are making contact. You can see here that they are touching where they should be, so that's all good.
Can't forget to put these on the back.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few people do that before.
We don't want liquid coming out when we cool it. Everything is good to go. We can start installing this into the case, but we need to clean up our desk area
Yeah,
first.
let's have a little cleanup first.
A few moments later.
We got the case back on the table. Now we need to install the GPU bracket right here. So I'll go grab that. One thing to mention, it comes with a very long cable
I
for
did
the
think
GPU
that.
bracket.
Yeah.
You're gonna need case screws. I'm on it.
On it like a cup. Oh, we already did.
Well, you've already said that. You can't keep saying the same jokes.
So we'll get this plugged into our slot right here. How's that look?
Yeah, it should be good for now. Okay, so, oh,
Tell you what, I'll go and get the screws.
you need to take that off first. Okay,
Is that in?
that's what she said.
How are we looking?
We did forget a screw down at the bottom. I didn't even see that until now.
Yeah, that's why it wasn't sitting
I was
flat.
wondering.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's much better. There we go.
Shall we set the PC up?
Yeah.
I gotta hide these cables.
Speaking of cables, we need to install them next.
Yeah, we get a lot of our cables from Reaper Cable, or make sure to link these down below. They always have some really cool ones. So these are just some black and neon green ones that we picked up.
Actually, I think Reaper Cable sent us these, didn't they?
They did.
They did.
They did.
So I did zip tie some of these up earlier. All right. And number 4. So first up is the motherboard cable.
Those cables actually look really nice.
And finally, the CPU cable. Is it time?
I think it is time for the tubing.
Up until now, obviously I've built PCs before, but custom water cooling, I have never done my own PC. So this is gonna be the first time.
Exciting.
So you're gonna be getting lots of tips from Naynay, because she's an expert.
I wouldn't say I'm an expert.
You are an expert.
No.
Have you seen your PCs?
I'm getting all flustered now. After further discussion, we have finally decided what we're going to do with the tubes, right?
We have. I'll see what I can remember. So, we are gonna be coming out of this one right here. You can see on the top down. This is gonna be coming up and over, right? Into this one right here. And then this one is gonna be coming down, and then we're going across, and then up, and then into here.
Yeah.
Then this one is gonna come out, it's gonna go up, it's going over the top of the PC, and then down, and then into here, and then this one is just gonna come out and go straight into here, and then this one is coming up, across, and then down.
Now that we have everything planned out for the loop, it is time to get to the bending. So you might be wondering, what kind of tools are you going to need? So first off, we have our tube cutter. This is from a Thermaltake. This is what we're going to use to cut all the tubing to the measurements that we want. We've got a right angle tube bender here. This is also from a Thermaltake. You're gonna want some kind of marker so you can mark your tubes, and something to measure your tubes with as well. You'll also want some gloves to keep your hands from getting burnt when you are bending the tubes on the heat gun, which is the other tool that you're going to need. You'll need a silicone insert to go into your tube. Make sure it is the right fit, because there are smaller and bigger tubes that will not fit. You're gonna want a basket with some water and some soap in it so that you can wet your tube insert. I feel like the soap method really helps with the tube when you're trying to take out the insert. Some people use it, some people don't. I like the soap method, so that's what we're gonna be doing today. What else did I missing? Oh, the tube. So this is PETG tubing. This is the easiest tubing to work with unless you're doing soft tubing, but PETG is really great to use if you are a beginner. It bends easy, it doesn't take a lot of heat to bend as well, and this is 16mm size tubing, so that will fit our insert as well. So are you ready to get started?
I'm ready.
So we got our water. Take this, dip it in there. You're just gonna grab it. You're gonna put it in there, and you're gonna want to leave a little bit of it sticking out on the outside. So you're gonna keep it like here, and you're gonna move it back and forth, and that will pretty much do it for you.
And how long roughly should this take?
It gets pretty hot fast. Okay. You wanna do it more than that, and you're a little too close. Up like that, yep.
So how do you know when it's ready? Is it, do you just get used to it?
You'll get used to knowing what the tension feels like. Normally what I would say to check
Yep.
If you turn your heat gun off and you hold it up and it starts to bend, it's not ready yet because it's not bending all the way on its own. If you start to work it, that's when you can see that it's ready. I would say that is pretty close. So if you want to turn off the heat gun, you can put it on here.
And how long should we be holding this in this position?
Usually about 20 to 30 seconds. So that's going to be where we are going to cut it. Grab this, open it up, and then you'll just spin it. You'll want to tighten it as you're going. See?
There we go.
There you go.
Cool.
Perfect.
Our first
Your
bend.
right angle.
Just had a quick Burger King break. You ready for the next bend?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So you have your first bend done. Let's move on to the second one. If you grab that pole, the easiest way I find to know where to do your bends, grab your tube that you've already bent. If you grab that pole and put that on top of the fitting, that's where your intersection needs to go for bending it down. And then mark right there. That's where we want to bend down. Come over here. That actually needs to come
a bit sharper.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the good things about PETG, is you can adjust things.
Yeah, I would say that looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and we will cut this. So let's measure. Perfect. So another tool that we have here is a tube edge cleaner. So we just cut the tube with the tube cutters. This is gonna help expand the inside if we want to put a tube back in there, because it will not fit after you cut it. And that just gets rid of all this edge pieces right here. And then you should be able to slip your tube back in there if you wanted to, but we should be fine.
So we've done our first tube, it fits and lines up. What's next?
We can put the fittings on right now just to see what it looks like when it's up on. Okay, so all you're gonna do with your fitting is you're going to put the first part on, and then the rubber fitting. This is what's going to grip onto your tubing. And then you take this little piece and you put it into your right angle connector. And then you would screw this down onto the connector. So we'll do that now. So we got our other fitting, like that, and then you just screw it in like that.
My first tube.
Cool.
Awesome. So I'd say each bend so far has taken probably between 10 and 20 minutes. In here. Bend number 3. So we managed to get tube number 4 in. Now this looks super simple, but I actually had to get your help for this one because it was being really annoying. I think because it's like super short.
Yeah, typically when you have small little angles like this, it's best to use soft tubing because it just forms into it. But since that was hard tubing, I had to roast it like a marshmallow to try and form it to that. I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it looks great. So final bend, let's do it.
This is one we gotta make sure we be careful because we don't want it to come too far out of the case.
And we're also out of right angle connectors, aren't we?
We are, so now we're down to skills. Yeah, so I'd say there.
So this last tube is coming up over the case, so we're just trying to get like a reference point for where it's gonna come across on the radiator.
Pretty much, yeah, I'd say so.
So based on how much of the tube we actually have left, we're gonna want it as close as possible, I think. So this is gonna be our last bend, so we need to make sure we get this right.
Get it as close to the ram as you can.
Wait, we're gonna have, I don't think we're gonna have enough, babe.
You don't think?
No.
You can try.
Do you think it's gonna work?
I don't know, it's gonna be a tight moment of truth. Oh, you got plenty of
What?
tube.
No.
Are you kidding me? Yeah. Let me see.
I don't think that's gonna reach. Once you've done the bend, that's not gonna go into the hole. Is it on?
It is on.
Yes!
Oh, wait. How tight is that? All right, so the tube fits into the socket here in the front, but the problem is when Josh did his first initial bend on the tube, the right angle, he did it too far back and it wasted too much tube, which meant now the tube is all wonky and not sitting right. So we're going to redo this again. We'll see if we can get it to work. Okay, so we have finished the tubing finally. So unfortunately, we were not able to use the other tube design because the tubes were way too short. So What we did to improvise is we created a line that goes slightly up on its side so that it could give us a little bit more tube left so that we could bend it down into the front of the CPU. And if you take a look at it on the top down, it actually looks really
so
cool.
Yeah, I actually prefer this design as well versus how we were gonna do it. So
yeah,
worked out pretty good.
So that is it for all the tubes. They are done. It is time to fill the PC up.
This is the best part.
This is probably one of the second best parts. The first best part is turning the PC on when it's done.
Yeah, it actually works. Okay, so the liquid we are using is the Primo Chill View liquid. Now, as we mentioned earlier in the video, we really wouldn't recommend that you use this for everyday usage because it's gonna gunk up your system pretty quickly. But we haven't seen what this looks like before, and as you can see, it's like mesmerizing to look at. So we're gonna put it in the system to see what it looks like, and then we'll probably end up switching out for just some regular green fluid.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and put our liquid in the tube. Oh, that's such a pretty color.
How many bottles are we thinking this is gonna take?
2. Still had a little left over in the last build when I had 2 bottles. So the fill port is actually right here at the top.
Wow, that looks cool.
That looks super cool.
Yeah, I've read a lot of bad reviews of this fluid online of people being like, I've been using it for the past year. Is it first time to power on?
Hopefully it turns on.
This could go terribly wrong. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it's booted.
Oh, there it goes. Oh no!
No!
We've got a leak. The culprit is this one right here. So the problem with the loop, where the leak is this was a pretty difficult tube to bend. One, because it's not soft tubing. That would have been preferred, but we don't have any soft tubing. There's too much pressure between these 2 fittings that's causing the fitting to kind of like go sideways, and that's where the water is leaking out of. So we are going to rebend a different tube.
A few minutes later.
So we've managed to fix the problem. Basically, there was too much stress on that small bend that you can see over there. So Naynay basically just added a bit more of an angle to it just to relieve some of that tension. And we think it's fixed. We've added some protection. Always use protection.
Go.
Here it comes. It's coming. Yeah, it's looking pretty good so far. Waiting for it to come down. Oh, here it comes. Okay, GPU is looking good. Coming out of the GPU, it's going into the CPU.
Any leaks? Any leaks?
Nope, not so far.
Is it coming up?
It's coming up.
Is it gonna
It's
make
gonna
it?
make it.
Oh, here it comes. Oh, you can see it on the top cam. Okay, so I need to add a little bit more.
Filling it's actually a bit more difficult than normal because we have our distro plate side mounted. Ideally, you'd want it the other way up. Still like not quite all the way through there. I remember with the last build that we did, you had some air pockets, didn't you?
It took like a good 30 minutes for it to fill out.
Yeah.
Maybe try tilting it. Yeah, see? Just like that. So we ended up putting the PC on the front side because not only did this allow for easy access to a lot of the ports, but it allowed us to fill up the distro plate all the way to the top. So then we also left the PC running for about 30 minutes so that all the air bubbles and all the foam could dissipate. Now, we did run into another problem. Well, the same problem with the fittings over here, and I'll let Josh tell you about that.
Yeah, so we still had like a tiny little leak on this. I don't know if it was maybe one of the elbow fittings wasn't pushed in correctly or whether it was just the stress because that was such a short tube bend. But we found one of these, which is basically like a Y connector, which allowed us to just do a straight bend, and we have had no problems since. So all that's left to do is to replace the case panels, and Naynay actually went and did some final customization to those panels.
Earlier in the video, we had mentioned that I had picked up some wallpaper, the neon green wallpaper that I planned on putting on the side panels to match with the overall theme of the PC. Now, as if this PC doesn't have enough customization already, this is definitely the icing on the cake, the cherry on top to pull everything together. So I will go grab those panels now. Okay, so here are the first 2 panels. This is what they look like. They came out really good. This one is the back one, if you want to put that on.
So how did you do this?
With a credit card, wallpaper, and an X-Acto knife.
There we go.
This one is going to need a few screws. What does it look like? I haven't seen it with everything on. Does it look cool?
It looks awesome. Dude, I love this green down
Wow!
the side.
Look at the front of it. I am so proud of us. It looks awesome.
It does.
I'm so sad. This is your PC and not mine.
I finally have a water-cooled PC.
This looks better than my Leon Lee PC.
After all these years.
All right, so I'll give you guys one last spin of the case with the panels on, just so you can see everything. Turned out really good.
There is actually glass panels as well, but we didn't want to put them on right now because it will just make a load of reflections. I am so happy with how this build turns out.
So now that you have built your first water-cooled PC, what would you say was the hardest part for you?
Definitely the tubing. I don't know how on earth you do those crazy spirals and everything. It's really difficult to like measure up and make sure that it does what you want it to do and to make sure you heat it to the right temperature.
That definitely takes practice. I personally feel like I eyeball a lot of things a lot more than you. You were more so, let's measure it.
Let's measure everything.
Well, I think that is about it for the PC build. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was a little bit more lengthy than a lot of the videos you're used to seeing on our channel, but it takes a long time to build a PC, especially when it's water-cooled and as custom as this. And we actually have 2 more water-cooled PC builds coming to the channel, so you'll get to see exact videos just like this coming in a few weeks or maybe next month or so. But I guess we'll just leave everyone with some B-roll shots of the case in all of its glory.
Yeah, just before we go though, I want to say a big thank you to Naynay for helping me build my first water-cooled PC. I love it. It's awesome.
Super cool. You better use it. I swear to
I've
God.
got to use it. Drop a like if you enjoy, guys. Subscribe if you're new, and we will catch you all in the next one.
Bye.